Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to answer your questions, and specifically your questions this week are about supplements for people over 60. Is keto biblical? Is canned tuna okay? Are we meant to eat meat? And how do you seal your jars when you dehydrate foods? Hi, I'm Annette Reeder from thebiblicalnutritionist.com, and I hope you've been to that website, because when you get on that website and you sign up for our emails, I answer a lot more questions in email format, specifically blood work, why to get it done, what the tests represent, how to get it done on your own. That's just one of them. This last week it was about comfort and guilt. What are you serving with dinner? Well, be sure and go to our website, thebiblicalnutritionist.com, and get signed up for that email. Besides, when you do that, you get our 7-step course for biblical health. And that is just my joy to serve you that book. And it's all free. So I'm actually here to serve you God's recipe for excellent health. And the more I can help you be healthy, the more you're going to be able to fulfill the mission that God's called you for. And God has called you for a particular mission that is unique to you. You weren't meant to fulfill someone else's dream or someone else's mission. You're uniquely designed for a special purpose. And just always remember, God loves you. Okay, let's dive in. Question number 1. Can you recommend a good supplement for women 60 and over? This was submitted by Mary Penley. Mary, thanks for asking this question. It's a good question because there's a lot of uncertainty as we age. Should we increase? Should we decrease? What do we do to maintain our health? Well, because you're asking this question, I recognize that you do want to maintain your health and you want to stay healthy for as long as you were designed to live on this earth. So let me share with you a good list, a better list, and the best list. All right? So let's start with the good list. First, this is the standard for everything you're going to buy. No matter what you buy, make sure it's from a company that can prove their purity standards. Not just saying organic. Organic is just a word. I mean, it does have some significance to it, but yet many companies will go beyond the standards of organic. Organic is how it's grown. That doesn't tell you what's on the product once it's been processed, like into a protein powder or into a supplement. So you want a company that's going to go beyond the organic standards to make sure a lot of tests have been done to make sure there's no contaminations, no pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and everything in the pill should be exactly 100% correct. That may sound like, well, of course. No, it's not an of course. Because when I was working with Dr. Cooey on our Treasures of Healthy Living Bible study in the video series, he said, because he was a professor at Baylor University, he said that he had students bring in vitamin bottles so that they could test them in the lab to know whether or not they were going to be pure or not. He said 90% of the vitamins did not have in every single pill what was listed on the label. Okay? That's just the way it is. So you need to pick a company that is going to meet that demand. And so I'll put a link to the company that I use down below for my own personal reference, and you can check into that. So let's start with, what is that list? So beyond finding a company with purity standards that's going to be beyond organic. Organic is not enough for me. That's just minimal. I want non-GMO and I want no synthetics. So here is our list. For the good list, you want a multivitamin. It doesn't have to be a senior citizen multivitamin. There's nothing wrong with it if it is. If you do have one that's for 50 and up, typically it'll have extra nutrients that you need more of because of processing. That's okay, but just get a good multivitamin. The one I personally use has all 50 of the essential vitamins and minerals, plus it has some gut enhancing extracts added to it so that it can be better absorbed and utilized. Now, that's number 1, a good multivitamin. Number 2 is a good omega supplement. Omega fish oils are very important. They're anti-inflammation. They help our brain to function. So if you want to stay smart, keep your memory throughout your entire life, you need to be on some good omega-3 supplements. So a good fish oil is going to have omega-3s and it's going to have DHA included as well. So that's number 2. The third one that I want you to be taking is digestive enzymes. Enzymes they always have a word that ends with an ase, like protease, lactase. Those are enzymes that help break down the different food groups. So protease breaks down protein. Lactase breaks down dairy, okay? So we want all of the aces in a digestive enzyme. This is very important. It's actually not just because you're 60 and up. It's almost all ages today need digestive enzymes because our digestive system is really our frontline defense against everything we take in, everything we breathe in, everything we eat, everything we swallow. Our digestive enzymes are kind of like they're there to break things down so we can then utilize the nutritional value of that food. But yet they get destroyed easily from stress and chemicals and medications and diseases. And so digestive enzymes is actually really important for everyone, all ages, even newborns, but specifically above 60 and older. Next one is vitamin D. I talked about this through several emails trying to stress the importance of your vitamin D level. So make sure you know what your vitamin D level is and supplement with vitamin D. I recommend for my clients to be at 5,000 IU per day. That way they're going to get their numbers up. I only have a few clients that have stuck with it and got their numbers up above their score to be above 70, which is where I want you to be. So really I want you to supplement well with vitamin D. And then we have calcium, magnesium. Magnesium is required for over 400 different processes in your body. That's how many they've identified. I suspect it's a lot more because God has so many things in our body that we have yet to discover. So magnesium is very important. So you need magnesium if you're going to take calcium because calcium needs magnesium to be bioavailable. So make sure you've got a good magnesium and then a good calcium as well. So that's our good list. That's a do not go without list. Let's go on to the better list. So we got good, better, best. The better list is I would take the good list and I would add to it pre and probiotics. Now, I've done a video on pre and probiotics. I've got a blog on pre and probiotics, so go check that out. So we really need to understand that bacterial overgrowth, the bad guys, can happen from surgery, from disease, from medications, and from stress. Now, by the time you're 60, you have probably experienced, most people have had surgery, most people have had a disease, even if it's just a minor one, and most people have stress, and most people have been on a medication, even if it's just an antibiotic at some time in their life. Because of this, we can have bacterial overgrowth. So the best way to repopulate is through pre and probiotics. They don't live forever. You can't take a pill today and say, oh, I took my yearly dose of probiotics. I wish it worked that way. I wish it were that simple. But always remember, our body is a daily feed, okay? You know, Jesus compares himself to the daily bread. We have to daily take in if we want to be able to daily function. And so what we take in every day is going to feed us for the next 7 days. So keep that in mind. Next on our better list would be B vitamins, B as in boy, especially B12. Then we go on to vitamins E and C. Now these vitamins E and C, if you've seen our Treasures of Healthy Living DVD series, and you can only catch that on our personal website. We don't sell it anywhere else on Amazon or anywhere. So you got to go to designedhealthyliving.com. I'll put a link to it down below this, and you can catch that video series there. Dr. Kuya and I teach 12 weeks of information to help you have a better, healthier life. Well, one of those videos I taught about vitamin E and C, they kind of go partnering around together in your body, protecting each other and protecting you. They're like a dual army going out against invaders such as free radicals. So having them in your supplement regime would be really good. And when I was looking up these answers for your question, and not that I didn't know the answers, I just wanted to make sure I had everything as accurately as possible. But there was a study that showed an increase in vitamin C, vitamin E, or carotenoids is associated with a greater plasma concentration of one of or both of these vitamins, and it's also a marker of overall healthier lifestyle. Now, the book that I went to study this was all about aged, taking care of people who are getting into their geriatric years. No, I get it, 60 is not geriatric. I don't even know what geriatric is anymore now that I'm getting older. But anyway, what I want you to understand is there's going to be a lot of doctors that say you don't need to take vitamins, you don't need to take vitamin E, it's actually harmful to you. It's not. It's been proven over and over that if you take a natural, not synthetic, and I teach all this in the Bible study and the nutrition manual, I teach it all, then you always have a healthier lifestyle. All right, one more thing on our, okay, good, better, best. Okay, now, so that's it for our better. We're going to move on to our best category. So you would take everything I've just mentioned, and now we're going to top it off. I got three things I want to share with you. I got three things I want to share with you for the best list. Number one, fiber. I know it's not a supplement, but it could be. And so I actually use a seed fiber to enhance and improve my fiber intake. Plus it's a seed fiber that actually helps to create a healthy microbiome, so it's like double bonus. And so getting in some fiber in your diet and increasing your fiber. The second one is resveratrol. Resveratrol is an ingredient that I love. It's kind of like your anti-aging, because here's what it does. There's been a lot of research in probably about the last 20 years about your telomeres. Your telomeres are in your DNA, and as they shorten through disease, stress, being overweight, pharmaceuticals, as they shorten, your life shortens, okay? As these die off, then you don't have them anymore to stay young. And so it's been proven that resveratrol helps to prevent the shortening of your telomeres in your DNA. And so this is important. So I highly recommend everyone is on resveratrol every day. And then lastly is milk thistle. Either as a daily dose or at least 2 times a year, do a liver kidney reboot. Okay, so give it a chance to cleanse and just get all cleaned out and beautiful and healthy and clean so it can keep working for you. Mary, I hope these answers have been good for you. I really appreciate you asking this question so that I could answer it here. Question number 2 was submitted by Noah. He writes, I just started keto. Is keto and low carb biblical? This is a good question, and I love your name. It just fits with your question. So realize, man likes to add labels and separate. God designs and multiplies. So here's what I mean by that. Man likes to put food in different categories. Do you remember when South Beach diet was like the rage? I mean, everything in the grocery store was South Beach, South Beach, South Beach. And then we went on, low fat. Everything was 0 fat. You could eat these Snackwell cookies, 100 calories, no fat. How many people became obese on those Snackwell cookies? It was totally a mindset shift that, oh, now I can eat more because there's no fat. So man is all about labels and separating out and dividing. God designed foods in their whole form. And when you take food in its whole form, it multiplies in your body with benefits. Now, the reason I'm saying this is keto is another label. We have 3 principles that we teach in everything we do here at the Biblical Nutritionist. Eat the foods that God called food for you. Eat them as close to the way He designed it, and then don't let any food become an addiction. Very simple. So you could take those 3 principles and apply it to keto. You could take those 3 principles and apply it to low carb. So let God's teachings be what prompts you on what to eat and what not to eat. And there are many people who have benefited greatly from keto and low carb. My goal is for you to find a diet or an eating plan that works for you, that you don't have to go on and off. Something that works for you continually. And everyone's different. We're different because of what has happened to us in our life, what we've taken in over the years, how many pharmaceuticals we've been on, how many surgeries we've had, what kind of stress we've had, what kind of emotional trauma, how much mental, anguish do we have. Everything plays into how your body responds to the foods you eat. So with that being said, is keto or low carb biblical? Well, it's not. It's not biblical, and it's not biblical. Okay, so Noah, that's a good question. I hope my answer helps you, but let's not make everything about is it biblical or not. It's just, is it God honoring or not? And that's a question that really only you can answer. I really can't be the one who answers that. It's why are you doing it? And you can always eat keto and follow the 3 principles. You can always eat low carb and follow the 3 principles. Okay, that was a good question, but let me just end with this. Always start, when you're looking for a diet plan, always start with the big G, God, and not the little g, Google. All right? Now, number 3. Sherry Armstrong writes, I can't afford fresh tuna. Is it okay to use canned tuna and canned salmon? Sherry, I get it. I do these videos and I buy the food and I share it with you and I teach you about buying the fresh tuna, which was so delicious. That was the first time in my life I've ever eaten fresh tuna, was when I did that video. I could not believe how good it was. Well, but yes, I get it. That would be a budget stretcher. It was very filling and it actually made several meals because it was so dense and filling. And, you know, for 1 pound, I don't remember what the sale price was that I got it. It did feed us for several meals. So it did stretch further than I expected. But the other hand is, yes, canned salmon. My husband and I, we have salmon burgers every Saturday for lunch. So if you show up at my house on Saturday for lunch, you're going to have salmon burgers, you're going to have sweet potato fries, and you're going to have a salad. It sounds like a lot on Saturday for lunch, but I usually go really light on Saturday night, and then Sunday I don't cook. So yes, so that's what you're going to have. And yes, it is going to be canned salmon. Canned tuna, yes, you can have that as well. But now that I've experienced the fresh tuna, and I made a video for you just last week on fresh tuna, oh my goodness, such a difference between fresh tuna and real tuna. Not that they weren't real, and canned tuna. So yes, you can have canned tuna. It is going to have the omegas in it. Canned salmon is going to have the omegas, not as much as fresh, but you know what? It's not about guilt. And you know what? I just pray that God does bless you with some fresh tuna or some fresh salmon one day so you can experience it. And just recognize it as a gift. Number 4. Do you vacuum seal your jars of dehydrated foods? I'm getting into dehydrating and I'm wondering if I need to vacuum seal to preserve them for longer. Thanks. And this was submitted by Faye Paints. Well, Faye, I'd love to see what you do paint and how beautiful that is. And this is a really good question. So vacuum sealing is always the best way to store foods, dried foods, for a long period of time. So if you're not planning on getting into it, then yes, go ahead. It's very simple. If you have the different attachments to do the vacuum sealing, it will work. I will tell you though, I have accidentally vacuum sealed some of my dehydrated foods. I put in the oxygen absorbers. I put the dehydrated foods. They were perfectly dehydrated. There wasn't any moisture at all. I put in the oxygen absorbers, sealed them up real good in a mason jar, and it automatically did the whole vacuum sealing. And I can prove it because I could not get that lid off later. I had to pry it open as if I had canned it. So oxygen absorbers work really well. They're just really handy. But if you have the different appliances to do vacuum sealing, then yes, that would work. Now, some of the dehydrated foods that I'm going to be getting into quite often, I don't vacuum seal them or throw in the oxygen absorbers because I'm going to be opening it up so much, it's not going to matter. So I hope this helps you, Faye. I hope this answers your question. Number 5. Is it really meant for us to eat meat? This was submitted by Jennifer Davis. It's a really good question, Jennifer. It's not the first time it's been asked, and it won't be the last time it's been asked. So I just want to answer you with these words. What did Jesus eat? Because the Old Testament has a lot of laws, and the laws were meant to protect his people. If you look back through history, the way he set up the laws for them to eat, for them to live, for them to take care of every bodily function, they were all set up to protect his people from getting sick. Well, realize that the laws are almost impossible to follow. The laws were to point us to a need for Jesus as our Savior. So that doesn't mean, though, that we were only supposed to eat as a Genesis 1:29. And I know there's a lot of people who teach that, and that's fine. I have friends who follow the Genesis 1:29 diet, and they do really well. And that's just something that they feel in their heart that they want to do. And I get that, and I respect that totally. But Jesus didn't eat that way. Jesus would have had fish. Remember, Jesus, if he fed his disciples after he rose from the grave, on the shore of the Sea of Galilee. In fact, I've stood right there where he would have fed them. He would have had that fire going, and he would have had the fish grilling, and he had the bread ready, and they came in and they just sat and ate with him. And even Jesus ate meat after he rose from the grave. So there's nothing wrong with some lamb. There's nothing wrong with the meats that he called clean. And fish, yes, there's nothing wrong with that. If Jesus did something, I know he only did things to glorify his dad, to glorify our Father in heaven. So if Jesus ate meat, I'm eating meat. Now, I haven't always eaten meat. I've done vegetarian at different periods of my life. And when my husband and I were first getting onto healthy living, we did the Daniel fast for quite a while. And it helped us to turn around from eating, the sad American diet to eating a biblical diet. So there are time periods when eating a Daniel fast or a vegetarian is very applicable. And there's other times where it's okay to eat meat. Just want to thank you all for sending in these questions so that I could answer them here. I find that this Q&A time with you is becoming my favorite video that I share with you because it's answering your questions. And that means you're in tune to what we're sharing. You're in tune to what we're learning. And you're desiring to be healthier. You're desiring to fulfill the mission that God's called you for. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like button because that tells me I'm giving you the content that you want to learn from. I can't wait to share more about what's coming up in the future. We have some great plans in store for you. In the meantime, don't forget to go to our website, thebiblicalnutritionist.com. Grab the 7 steps for biblical health. I really like how that got put together. It takes you into our course platform. Once you're in there, you get invited to our Facebook group and you can ask even more questions there. Hey, I'm Annette Reeder, the Biblical Nutritionist from thebiblicalnutritionist.com. Thanks for watching.